Okay. All right, guys. So this is the final step after you've glued all your things down. We're going to choose 9 of them. You want to turn them over upside down like this. And then with your glue stick, you want to go over the whole thing. Now yours is going to be a lot neater than mine. You're going to take it more slow than I am. This is just for demonstration. And you want to be more purposeful about how you place your grid. You think about it, play with it. Okay, now, once you put all 9 of your pieces on your square, it might come a little short, and that's fine. We don't have to be perfect today. Then, you're gonna make sure this is all pressed down. Take your knife, take the lid off. Excuse me. Then what you're gonna do is go along the edges, the pencil edges or the pen edges, however you've drawn it, and holding the knife, you don't hold it straight up and down like this, because if you do, you're only using a tiny point of the cutting surface. Can you see back there? Come on over here. And if you go like this, horizontal, you're only getting this part of the knife. The goal is to keep it at like 45 degrees. It'll make your cut a lot easier. Instinctively, you're going to want to do this, but over time, you'll get more comfortable doing it the correct way. Then you're going to hold your ruler down, or your cutting guide down with your other hand, not too hard. If you hold it too hard, it's easy to slip up, and you don't want it to move, and you don't want to cut yourself either. You're going to take your knife, go ahead of where you need to cut. I'm going to move it up here, and you can see how I'm kind of leaning it against the straight edge. Then you're going to press down a little bit, not too tight. If you press down super tight, it's harder to control, and it makes you nervous, and then you're more likely to cut yourself. Just take it easy, go slow, let the blade do the work. You shouldn't have to press down too hard. Okay? Now, I'm going to cut in a little bit. Ideally, all of these pieces would butt up to the edge, but they're a little short. So what we're going to do is we're going to eyeball it. I'm taking the straight edge, and I'm not just laying it down. When I'm looking at the straight edge, I'm also looking at this drawn line, and I'm trying to keep the space between this edge and this line consistent. See how here the space is bigger and the space is smaller? That's how you can tell it's not straight. just kind of eyeball it for this one, and then cut. And if you do what I just did, see how there's still some here? You can keep your straight edge there and still trim that off. It's not the end of the world. Okay? Do the same thing here. I'm kind of eyeballing it because we've come a little short. And it's okay to cut the edge of this little piece off. Okay. Now we have this nice single sheet. What we're going to do next is we're going to cut our board. Now this board comes much larger. I cut a smaller piece off to make our demonstration easier, but we have giant sheets of this in the art department that you can use. You don't have to buy it, okay? Normally if you want to buy a giant sheet, it's about as big as this green piece here. It's about $5, $6, okay? So now we know that this is approximately, let's measure it. This is approximately 6 inches. It's really more like 5 3/4, but let's just call it 6, just for ease. So we want 2 inches of black all the way around on each side. We don't want it tight like this, we want a good 2 inches. So if this is 6 inches and each side has to be 2 inches, how big is our black board gonna be? 6 plus 2 plus 2. So 6 plus 2 plus 2. So that's 6, 8, 9, 10. So our board's gonna be 10 by 10. Math is not my strong point, so I have to think really hard when I'm doing that. So then you measure out your board, 10 inches by 10 inches. Oops. Just make a little pencil line on this side. Make a little pencil line on this side at the 10-inch mark. And now the good thing about this cutting board is that it has these rules on it that make it easier to cut straight. So if we line this board up with one of the printed lines on the cutting board, we can see that the pencil line we drew here is just about right where this line is on the cutting board. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit. And I'm going to line my ruler up. And what I'm doing is I'm also looking at this printed line below the board and lining my ruler up with it across. Then you do the same thing. Foam core takes a little longer to cut because it's thicker. So you just want to take your time, let the knife do the work. Okay. Now we're going to do it again on this side. That takes practice, but you'll get the hang of it. Don't be afraid of the knife. It's not so hard to use. Then what you're going to do is you'll glue the back of this. You could use super glue for this project if you want, but it won't last very long. It'll start peeling off. Ideally, we'll use spray mount for this, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? And when it's sprayed or glued on the back, you just put it down here. I use this part of my hand because it's flat. Take it easy, press it down, and then you have a finished piece, okay? Okay, thank you.